Here's the computer, okay? There's the computer. All right, the MacStudio and Studio Display are finally here. When Apple released this last week, I think a lot of people were excited, myself included. I was like, ooh, a new computer, let's go. And now that we actually have our hands on the product, I'm genuinely a little surprised now. Now, a quick disclaimer for you. I've only had this computer since yesterday, which is Monday. This video is coming out on Thursday morning. It takes like a full day to shoot and edit something like this. So really, I've only had my hands on this product for 24 hours. So this is really just a first look video. In terms of my experience with Apple products, I'm currently using the M1 Max 14-inch MacBook Pro and the 16-inch MacBook Pro. So that's where this experience is coming from. That's where this opinion is also going to be coming from in this video. Okay, a little context. The computer that I have my hands on right now is the MacStudio M1 Max and the Studio Display with the nano texture glass that's on the front of it, the anti-glare supreme. All right, so let's jump into my favorite part of this announcement, and that is the Studio Display. So this is the 27-inch 5K Retina display. It is 60 hertz, and it has the nano texture glass on it. But there's two options that you actually can get. There's the anti-reflective coating, and then on top of that, you have the nano texture glass, which just reduces more glare. We have a 12-megapixel webcam on the Studio Display here, which, just to give you some reference, the Sony a7S III is also 12 megapixels. So that's more than enough. Apple's claiming that we have really good high fidelity sound coming out of the Studio Display. I am very particular when it comes to audio. I'm a musician, so I care about this kind of stuff. We have 2 tweeters and 4 woofers in it. Let's see if we can hear all those 6 speakers working together. I also don't want to get content ID'd. Actually, I think because I registered my own song, I might get content ID'd on my own video. Mute the noise. And pause the repetitive choice. That sounds good. From a first listen, there's definitely a lot more bottom end in terms of the audio experience when I'm usually listening on a MacBook Pro, just because of the actual shape of the computer. You don't usually get a full range of audio when you're listening back. So to actually get some of those bass notes in there, it sounds good. I mean, monitors typically don't ever sound amazing. This one sounds pretty decent. And the monitor comes in at a price tag of around $1,600 USD. My personal opinion on this, it's a very sleek looking monitor, but just when you have it on the desk, it looks great. Okay, so the current specs of my MacStudio M1 Max are a 10-core CPU, 32-core GPU, and we have 64 gigs of RAM and 4 terabytes of internal SSD storage. Here are all the ports on the back of the MacStudio. We got 10 gig Ethernet, we got 4 Thunderbolt, we got 2 USB-A, we got 1 HDMI, and we also have 1 headphone jack. So the MacStudio M1 Max starts at around $2,000, and as you start jumping up into the M1 Ultra, you're looking at around $8,000 for the top end of that. So you can kind of spec it out anywhere between $2,000 to $8,000. All right, so some of the things that I really like about this computer, and this is obvious for all content creators these days, is the SD card slot in the front. So as we understand with the M1 chip, it has allowed the computers to actually run a lot quieter these days. So this computer itself, the MacStudio, has a very advanced cooling system. It basically, just to summarize that, it's a very, very quiet computer. So let me show you here. We're gonna go fishing for some sound. Hear it? It's very quiet. So when you combine the MacStudio with the Studio Display, you are looking at anywhere between $3,600 USD all the way up to $10,000 USD for this complete package of a computer. It's a great setup, but that is definitely a lot of money. If you're trying to actually afford this computer, I also just recently released a free course. When I say free, it's legitimately free. If you sign up for my newsletter, I have a 10-day course to raise your rates as a creative person. So literally go click the link in the description and you will get tons of information that will hopefully increase your value as a creative. And then you can buy this computer with all the money that you made from the course. So who is this computer for? So let's get one of the most obvious things out of the way right now. If you're looking at this current computer, you are most likely a desktop worker. So if you are currently running an M1 Mac Mini or an M1 iMac, then you're definitely going to see a lot more performance out of the MacStudio M1 Max. MKBHD said in one of his videos that essentially this computer is like a Mac Mini Pro.
Basically, is this a Mac Mini Pro or is it a Mac Pro Mini?
And I totally agree with his sentiments there. Again, so one of the things that you have to keep in mind, because they have the 2 models, you have the M1 Max MacStudio, and you also have the M1 Ultra. The M1 Ultra, you can max this thing out like crazy. You can max out the Ultra like crazy. That sounds ridiculous, but literally you can go all the way up to like 128 gigabytes of RAM. So that thing is wicked fast. That's where you're gonna really see a lot of performance if your workflow needs it. Okay, so in my personal opinion, the most exciting part of this new announcement is the Studio Display. I love this display so much, and it's a huge part of my current workflow because I work a lot off of this computer right here. This is the M1 Max 14-inch MacBook Pro. And I previously had a different monitor on this desktop here that I'm working at right now. I never really trusted the colors on that monitor, so I'd literally just switch my attention back to my computer, edit the photos, and then bring it back over here when I was doing like Photoshop work. I don't like that. I don't trust that. So now in this case right here, I can plug in this monitor, I can move everything over here, and I can trust what I see here is going to look similar to what I see on my current MacBook Pro. If you don't have a computer like this, maybe you're working off of the M1 Mac Mini or you're working off of an iMac M1, this could be a really nice upgrade. Or if you like working at a desktop and you want the same performance as the MacBook Pro, this would be a really great option for you. Right now, I'm leaning towards liking it a bit, but I will give you my true opinion in upcoming videos. That is all about the MacStudio and the Studio Display. If you guys like this video, please press like. It actually makes a difference. Subscribe and hit the bell to be notified for future videos, and we will most definitely catch you guys in the next one. I love you guys very much. Yeah, embargoes are a lot sometimes, and now we're gonna go edit this video and get it ready for the video that you're watching right now. Bye, love you.